Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with Doctor Who. Last time around we had The Legend of Ruby Sunday, which much like the first season of The Legend of Korra, wasn't really The Legend of Ruby Sunday. It was more like The Legend of Susan Triad and Sutekh, and also Ruby Sunday was there. I'm kidding, of course. I don't know why that just popped into my head, and it's like, I should make this joke. Nobody gets it. No, it's barely applicable anyway. But yes, so the Doctor took Ruby back to UNIT to discover her origin, as well as who is the mysterious woman who's been following them on their adventures. So a couple things. One, we still don't know who Ruby's mother is. Two, Susan Triad is not Susan Foreman. I know that wasn't really a question before it was brought up. I guess most things are not questions until they are brought up. Anywho. But yeah, so Susan Triad is not Susan Foreman, which is good. And also, I mean, I already said it, Sutekh. It's the return of Sutekh. So for all of you who didn't watch Pyramids of Mars until they re-edited it into Tales of the TARDIS, well, welcome. Welcome to the classics. Welcome to understanding the classics, which is more than can be said. Well, I guess around the time they brought back the Toy Maker, they did release the animated version, didn't they? So, but I don't know how many people actually went back and watched the animated version of the Celestial Toy Maker. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Is it any better? That's a loaded question because most people didn't think it was as bad as I did, so. Anywho, what was I saying? Sutekh. Sutekh is back. He got better after being killed by rapid old age by the Fourth Doctor. He is back. He is a god now, like legitimately a god, not just the inspiration of mythologies for the Egyptians. He is actually a god now, and he is part of the pantheon, which includes the Toy Maker, the god of games, the Maestro, the god of music, the Trickster, the god of traps, Reprobate, I remember that, the god of something, and also the Mara, the god of beasts. I would love to see them bring back the Mara. Good lord, could you imagine? They might. Maybe that's where this era is going, at least this era of Ncuti as the Doctor. It might be that's going to be every season is going to be a bit of the pantheon. It'd be nice to bring back the Trickster. The Trickster was always a great villain in the Sarah Jane adventures, and I'm going to tell you right now, the Trickster is way more interesting than the Mara. The Mara is, for those of you that don't know, for those of you who are unaware of the Mara in classic Doctor Who, the Mara was a part of one of the worst, most god-awful episodes of Doctor Who. And if anyone tries to tell you otherwise, and they say that I'm wrong about that, they're lying. No, I kid. Anywho, have I been rambling enough? Can we just start the episode? I guess we should probably just do that. Let's get into the Series 1/1440 finale of Doctor Who. Let's just get going. I also, because people told me, I also love that it is the original voice of Sutekh back. That's pretty cool. Good to see he's still doing stuff. Uh-oh. Oh no, they've become mobile.
I bring Sutekh's dust.
Open fire! All weapons!
Oh! Even Morris has one. That's pretty cool. Oh! Attaboy.
This is me signing on. With thanks and love.
No.
Send this monster back into hell. No! Because I have to. Birds will sing again.
Oh.
There will be birds.
They really just showed that kid dying, and Kate. Okay, there's gotta be a way to reverse this then. You can't just kill off Kate.
I'm sorry, you tiny little woman.
This is getting weird.
I'm so sorry. It ends like this.
What a fun role for her, though.
I had such plans.
Oh! Now it's definitely reversible. Okay, so... Oh god, alright. What the... Wait, that's a TARDIS? Whoa. Wait, is this the TARDIS from Tales from the TARDIS?
The greatest monster I have ever fought.
Really?
The time and
Aww.
was to imprisoned for all eternity, but he rose again, and I defeated him.
He did say...
Cast you into the time vortex.
He did say he couldn't defeat Sutekh if he got out, so...
I clung to your infernal machine, and for so years,
Wow. He's been a part of the TARDIS that whole time.
This time, and I saw inside the TARDIS so many secrets. Her name,
Susan.
the perfect
Aww.
trap.
This feeling that you have now, this doubt. Have you ever felt so alive? Doesn't it feel good?
Bye! The hell out of here!
What is it?
So remember TARDIS.
It's a mini version.
Bits and pieces of every TARDIS that ever was held together.
Aw, that old god-awful jacket. Woo! Oh yeah, that's an extinction, isn't it? No, Australia.
The Earth is dying. So many times.
Not just the Earth, but every planet you've ever landed on. It's like the Flux all over again.
The Time Lord.
No greater than him. A secret the child carries with her.
Ruby's mother?
But I will find them out there.
That's the one thing that escapes him.
Hush now, darling. Let me give the man his chaffee.
Who is a little one?
I think I called her Brindle. Brindle D. But I forget.
Well, that is a shit name, so...
called?
Singular spoon. Please tell me he's going to defeat Sutekh with a spoon.
I think my daughter died, didn't she? And I forgot.
I think she did.
Jeez, man. I mean, like, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah, I never understood what was all that Egyptian stuff.
Cultural appropriation.
Eh.
We traveled together, didn't we?
Best time of my life.
We met Einstein.
Did we?
Did we?
God, I've forgotten.
You okay?
Exhausted.
I don't want to see Mel die.
When he landed with the TARDIS in 2004, he saw the one thing beyond his comprehension. Your mother.
But who is she?
We don't know. And neither does he, that's the point.
Even Sutekh doesn't know. Which is ridiculous to say. Oh no.
That's 2046. You haven't met him, have you?
No. No, I couldn't, could I?
Then why is it showing you? 2046.
Oh god. Welsh fairy tales are the only thing that confound Sutekh.
DNA testing became compulsory for the entire population in the UK. So if your mother was still alive,
She'd be on record.
she would be on the register. You've never been able to find her because she never got tested, but 2046, she's got no choice. It is showing us the way.
If she's still
Ruby,
in
it's
the
showing us
UK.
path to your- Just make one final.
Handy. Love a whistle.
We're
Don't worry about me. Find that name.
He knows. He absolutely knows that that Sutekh is controlling her. You got a DNA pad thing on the Sonic? Man, I gotta get this Sonic. It's so... I love its design, man.
Submit to the will of Sutekh.
Melanie. What will win out, the snow or the sand?
What does it mean?
She died. She died. I'm sorry. I loved you, Mel.
And what good did you love, Doctor?
Yeah.
Bring the name to me.
Sutekh, I promise you, I will worship you. If you just allow me.
Ugh.
It found the name,
What's the name?
but I don't understand. And I wish I could.
Hit him! Hit him with the jewel!
Waiting for so long.
Oh!
You great big god of nothing.
Oh! Heal, boy! Oh, they got the glove! Oh!
Die at the hand of Sutekh.
He still has... The TARDIS is still with him. The TARDIS still rebels. Aha!
Into the vortex.
Oh boy. And with the doors open. Alright. Let's drag you through, bitch. Woo! Let's take him for a walk.
What happens if you bring death to death? You bring life!
What? Sure. Yay, the blinks. Yay, Rose. Yay, Kate. I don't know what he's doing, but good job. Hey, he's back too. It's like Endgame. Yeah, even Mrs. Flood is back. Thank goodness. Okay, so it's just like a paradox. He's killing death, which means it must be life. Sure.
The spoon.
Yeah. A spoon, a glove, a rope, and a whistle.
We fought a monster.
Fought a god.
And now, I must become a monster.
What? Oh, because he has to kill Sutekh?
I am the one that brings death.
Oh. That was a great scream. You killed him. Surely he won't come back in another 50 years.
The god of death created life.
And he gave you a very good brain.
Eh. And he made you overall a very nice person.
Oh,
But anything to help, I don't mind. I'll make the tea.
Did you make this tea?
I did, yes.
Don't make the tea.
Don't make the tea.
We've done it.
DNA retrieval 100%.
Oh, they have the answer?
That's what I don't understand. She's so ordinary.
She's wonderful.
No, she's wonderful. And she's ordinary, but I love her for that. I just... How did she stay invisible from a god? She defeated Sutekh.
From
She's
Sutekh.
important. Because we think she's important. It's how everything happens. Every war, every religion, every love story. We invest things with significance.
Power of a word.
In the end, the most important person in the universe was the most ordinary.
Wow.
A scared little girl. Making our baby safe.
But she pointed.
She did.
That's kind of
She
weird.
pointed at you, Doctor.
She was pointing out the name of the road.
Ruby
She was
Road.
naming you.
Why did she have a dramatic cloak, though?
My name is Ruby.
But the dramatic cloak, still. The dramatic... Okay.
I found her.
With a time machine. Is that fair? Louise Miller made her choices, and I think we should leave that alone. Ruby?
That's me.
Mm-hmm.
You left me by a church 19 years ago. Oh my God. You left me where I was safe. And I just want to say thank you.
Oh, your cappuccino, love. This is the thing he can never have, though. What? Why does he keep materializing in the apartment?
My dad, William, because it turns out his mum and dad still live at the same address, but she never told him, my mum, my real mum. So she never told Will about me, so he doesn't even know I exist. So we've got to go, and... I'm sorry.
You know what? I'll be back in a week. Don't be so time travel there.
You could call and see my dad. You don't do that, do you?
He doesn't have a good history with domestics.
Your own granddaughter. He left her and never went back.
And that was my mistake.
Ow. Thanks. Damn, he held that in for a while.
But life goes on, doesn't it?
Ugh.
Ruthlessly. And what happens, you might wonder? Oh, what happens to that mysterious traveler in time and space known as the Doctor?
Who are you?
I'm sorry to say his story ends in absolute terror. Night-night.
Great, thanks. Doctor Who will return. That's it, just, it will return. Alright then. Thanks. It will end in a night of total terror. You know, remember when finales were just, the Daleks are back? Good grief, man. She was no one. She was just ordinary. Just an ordinary person. But everyone cared who she was. From our young heroes I say young, relatively young for the Doctor, and our ancient enemy. Now, why couldn't Star Wars do that? Come on. Why couldn't Star Wars do that, I feel like, I almost think that's something of, like, RTD did that specifically. Like, he had to have remembered that, right? I don't know. I mean, does he care about Star Wars? I'm sure he does, to an extent. I'm sure he knows about Star Wars stuff, but, like, that was such a big thing. Who is Rey's parents? And it's like, and that was just an entire fiasco. So, but she was just ordinary. But the fact that nobody knew, even Sutekh, the god of death, had to know. Even Sutekh had to know. But what? Okay, but they answered pretty much all the questions, including why she turned around and pointed. So presumably she thought, when the Doctor showed up, she thought, oh, well, this is someone from the church, so I'll turn around and dramatically point at the street road sign, and that will name my child that I'm giving up. Sure, I'll take that, sure. But why was she wearing a dramatic cloak? Like, do people tend to do that? Like, she wasn't just wearing, like, a coat. And it's 2004, It was 2004, which every time I think about how young Ruby is, I die a little bit inside. Coats existed back then. Like, you would think she would just be, like, in a coat and, like, a beanie. Not a dramatic cloak obscuring her face so that she can turn and point at the road sign dramatically. Like, I feel like they need to ask about that. Like, why the cloak? Why the dramatic? Like, I guess. Again, I get, like, she pointed at the road sign, and I guess she just thought the Doctor was... I don't know. Which, I guess, should she not recognize the Doctor then? Because they said, like, oh, we told her all about you and everything. It's like, okay. It's like, all of this, and it's like, now, it's like the opposite of last episode, where last episode there was a lot about Ruby, but that got kind of overshadowed by the return of Sutekh. This one is a lot about Sutekh, but is now being overshadowed by Ruby. Like, it's hilarious how that happened, But Sutekh, I mean, hey, they said in Pyramids of Mars, the Doctor said, if Sutekh ever truly got free, nothing in the universe could stop him, not even the Doctor, He said that, and to an extent he was right. He managed it, sure, but a man in a box. He beat the god of death, who destroyed life throughout all of time and space. And he beat him with a box, a rope, a whistle, and a glove. That's it. That's it. Now, granted, of course, that box is a time machine, but I do like that too, though, that the whistle is the signal to the TARDIS to start activating to get free of Sutekh's grasp. Like, I like that, because it does sort of bring up a thing of, Sutekh has been latched onto the TARDIS since the Fourth Doctor's era, Since the Fourth Doctor's era, Sutekh has been latched on to the TARDIS. So everything from Pyramids of Mars to now has had Sutekh. When Jack Harkness grabbed onto the TARDIS, Sutekh had to, like, move over a little bit to let him on, He's always been there. It's hilarious now because as we're watching through modern Doctor Who, which we're about to, at time of recording this, our reaction to the movie went up today. Well, it's actually going to go up in half an hour, but and by the time this episode goes up, the first episode of Modern won't be out yet, but we've already started recording that. So now I'm going to look at it, and every time there's little bits of Sutekh on this model, because this is specifically the 13th Doctor's TARDIS. So comes with a free invisible Sutekh. He's always been there. You just never realized. He was always there. He was always there. From Pyramids of Mars to Empire of Death, Sutekh has been latched onto the TARDIS. Now, obviously, no one thought of that until RTD came up with this storyline. But still. But now it's retroactively canon. Now they've changed the canon. Oh my god. So I'm not watching The Acolyte right now. I don't even know if I'm gonna watch it. I'm not watching The Acolyte on camera. I'm not doing Star Wars reactions anymore, aside from the shows I was already doing. But I heard that there was a giant shitstorm in the Star Wars community, I suppose. Which, when is there not, you know? But there was a big controversy with The Acolyte that they changed canon a bit. And I'm just like, wow, that's hilarious. That's hilarious that they cannot deal with canon being changed on this old sci-fi property. Like, bro, you would not survive Doctor Who. You would absolutely not survive Doctor Who. They changed things so many times. Now, there you go. It is now canon that from Pyramids of Mars to Empire of Death, Sutekh was latched onto the TARDIS the whole time. That's amazing. And he was able to destroy everything and everywhere all at once. Everything. Every single place that the Doctor went, from Pyramids of Mars to Empire of Death, was given a little Susan triad. And because of that, Sutekh was able to destroy it all. I mean, just like, how many places is that? You know? How many places is that from Pyramids of Mars? Let's find out. The Android Invasion, that was the next episode. That was the place with the not Sontarans. They were close, but... Karn, yeah, because of the Brain of Morbius. Seeds of Doom was Earth. Mask of the Mandragora was Earth. Leela's planet was destroyed, where Leela was originally from. Gallifrey. How many times has... Oh, you know what you have to wonder, too? Do you think Sutekh was able to latch onto other TARDISes, too? Because many of the TARDIS, like, you know when all the TARDISes of all the Doctors appear around Gallifrey at the end of the Time War? Multiple of those TARDISes, multiple of them have Sutekh on them now. Do you think Sutekh even latched on to a different one? Like, latched onto the first Doctor's TARDIS? I mean, the only thing we know for sure is that... I mean, well, we don't know, but... Assuming the fugitive Doctor is pre-Hartnell, we can only assume he was not attached to that version's TARDIS. But that's a whole other can of worms. Though speaking of that season, at least, like, hey, freaking, they managed to reverse the end of the universe, unlike the Flux. I was almost curious if he was gonna say something about that, you know? If he was gonna say, like, no, you know, like, this just happened with the Flux, I can't have this happen again, you know? What else was there this episode? Mel, I liked that Mel was back, like, fully, like, that was nice, honestly. Like, having Mel join them after the end of the universe, that was good. And that was a good way of using Mel, even of having Sutekh possessing Mel. Like, that worked out too. Give her something to do. You know what I thought? I thought when Sutekh was, like, starting to possess her, I thought, oh my gosh, if she screams, like, this would be the perfect opportunity. We had 2 entire episodes, 3 actually, because of the giggle, 3 entire episodes where Melanie never screamed. Good for you, Mel. You have evolved, you know? Or, let's be honest, she's gone back to where she was in Terror of the Vervoids. Because Terror of the Vervoids, that is the best version of Melanie, you know? Like, that episode, like, she was really good in that episode. And I guess a little bit to an extent at the end of Trial of a Time Lord. But that season with her and the 7th Doctor, that was not a good version of Melanie, you know? Like, she wasn't necessarily bad, but she screamed too much, you know? But that first story, Terror of the Vervoids, that was, like, peak Melanie, you know? And I feel like we got that back here, you know? See, this is great, because when we watched The Giggle last year, I was like, well, I don't know anything about Mel, because I haven't watched, you know, her episodes, her stories yet in classic Doctor Who. Luckily, there were so few of them that now that she's back, I have seen them all, so it all works out. And I did actually, I went back and rewatched the scene where she's talking with the 14th Doctor in The Giggle, and I like how she says, you know, good old Sabalam Glitz, you know, he lived to, like, what, 104, which, geez, how old was he, you know? But he lived to be 104, he had an entire space Viking funeral, and at that point she was like, time to go home. Which makes sense. I still don't understand why she went with him in the first place, you know? Like, that was still a terrible companion exit, but... See, here's the funny thing is, I bet half of you don't know what I'm talking about, because you're new Doctor Who only. But for the other half of you that I pissed off at the beginning because I said Kinda was garbage, which it still is, but that other half of you that watch classic Doctor Who, now you get it. I get it! Dude, I can't believe, like... the amount of joy I do have knowing everything. I mean, granted, I don't know, like, the audio dramas, the books, the comics, all that stuff. I don't know that stuff, but knowing every televised episode of Doctor Who, I feel like I have power now. I don't, I just know things, but I feel like I have power, you know? Hey, I didn't have to watch Tales of the TARDIS to know who Sutekh was. That said, I did watch a reaction to Tales of the TARDIS Pyramids of Mars episode, because that was fun. That was really fun. So, also, the other Tales from the TARDIS episodes, I've seen clips, like, popping up on YouTube, and I just never watched them, but are those, like, introductions, basically, to re-edited versions of classic Doctor Who episodes? Because... if so, they should keep doing that. Like, they should keep doing that. And, you know, it makes sense that... because I've seen, it's like, you know, you have the 7th Doctor and Ace, you'll have the 5th Doctor and Tegan, and I would assume the 6th Doctor and Mel, or maybe Perry. Maybe they got Perry in, too. That'd be great. I would love to see how they re-edit a 6th Doctor episode. Although, don't get me wrong, there are good 6th Doctor episodes. Definitely, like, if you want my opinion on, like, hey, I'm gonna watch one 6th Doctor episode, what should it be? I would say, I've got 2 options for you. I've got, Vengeance on Varos, which I think is a really, really good episode, although I will say, the first time I watched it, I was kind of like, yeah, it's good, it's fine. But the second time I watched it, I was like, oh, this is really good, with some really interesting commentary in here. So take that as you will. But for an episode that first time around was great, Mark of the Rani. The Mark of the Rani was amazing. So those are my 2, like, if you want to, because, like, you can go through, like, our classic Doctor Who tour that we did originally, and each of those is a pretty good episode, except Kinda. Don't watch Kinda. Kinda's garbage. Watch Earthshock. Earthshock is a lot better for the 5th Doctor, but yeah. But for the 6th Doctor, either Vengeance on Varos, which we did watch originally in the tour, or Mark of the Rani. Those would be my 2 choices for you. But yeah, excuse me. But they should definitely like keep re-editing these classic episodes into Tales of the TARDIS episodes. And I know I've seen a couple comments from people that are like, "Oh, you don't need to edit it at all. You know, you don't need to touch the classics." Like, these need to be edited. These need to be edited down. Take it from someone who watched it all, who watched all of classic Doctor Who. Some of those, in fact, a lot of those episodes could be edited. Now, some of them are great as they are. Remembrance of the Daleks was really good. Again, like Mark of the Rani and Earthshock, I would say probably. But a lot of those stories, giving it a little bit, not like fully like, you know, we're just going to chop this up down to like 30 minutes or something. It's like, no, but they definitely could use some edits, you know? So I really enjoy that. I really like that they did that. And it worked out, you know, that they had Shudigatwa telling, you know, this version of the Doctor telling Ruby about Sutekh, because, I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, you could have Tom Baker, but who is Tom Baker going to be telling this story to, you know? Sad to say, but it's interesting. They still also don't explain the whole thing with, the 73 yards and Ruby. Like, they give you little hints, and I'm sure someone who, you know, is great with like theory crafting and stuff could figure out why that whole thing happened to Ruby, like tie it in with the TARDIS and Sutekh and stuff. But I still want to believe that whole thing with Ruby just, you know, literally just was a Welsh nightmare, you know? It was just like a Welsh fairy tale gone wrong, basically. Well, I guess a lot of fairy tales are gone wrong, but still, you know, a lot of those old school, like, dark fairy tales, but still. But yeah, I just want to believe, like, which it does sort of call into question. It's like, so Sutekh wouldn't have done anything about that? Because it's like, but I think Sutekh being a god, he probably knew what was happening there. It's like, well, I'll go ahead and make, you know, a Susan triad, and then we'll just sort of, like, she'll loop back around, and then it'll all work out, you know? So anyway. But I like they really don't explain that. Like, it ties in still with, you know, with Roger Ap Gwilliam using, you know, getting DNA samples of everyone in the UK. It works out. They can find Ruby's mother, but still. Yeah. And then they defeated Sutekh. They defeated Sutekh with... Oh my god, I've been running so long. I gotta wrap this up. I've been blabbing about nothing for so long. Defeated Sutekh by just letting him go in the time vortex. I mean, in a sense, that's exactly what he was supposed to have done in the first place, but... finally stuck this time. This time. He's really dead this time. He won't come back in 40 more years. I don't know. That'd be funny. That depends on if Doctor Who's gonna go that long, you know? I don't know. We'll have to see. And then the whole thing of... I do like the Doctor just being very hesitant about Ruby seeing her mother, you know? Like, he's kind of like, well, but maybe we should leave it alone. And Ruby goes for it, and it all works out. But, I mean, it is a thing, probably because he doesn't want... I mean, the Doctor is the man who always runs, you know? The Doctor is the man who always runs, and he, if anything, probably is trying to run from his own feelings about it. Like, you know, he sees Ruby reuniting with her mother, and everything's, you know, happy and nice and good, and that's great. But the Doctor can never have that, you know? The Doctor can never have that. He can never know who his parents were that abandoned him as the timeless child, you know? And I like that still kind of lingers over his mind, you know? That still lingers over his mind, the timeless child. I like the way they do that. It's like, are we going to show any more of the timeless child? No, we're probably never even going to answer the question, you know, who is the Doctor's parents? Who abandoned him there? But it's still going to be in his mind. So, it's still going to be in his mind. And then we end with Mrs. Flood in her giant puffy coat being creepy. So, that's great. That's great. Who is Mrs. Flood? Good grief. So she's something else. I've seen some theories that she's Susan. She's Susan regenerated. I don't fully believe that. I mean, see, I don't want that because that would mean not bringing back Carol Ann Ford when she's still alive and still could be Susan, you know? It's like we bring back Mel and everyone else, we can't bring back Susan, you know? So, I don't fully buy that she's Susan regenerated, but what is she? Maybe she's a reprobate, that one god that they just sort of tossed in at the last second. Maybe she's the Mara. I really hope she's not, though. Have we ever seen Mrs. Flood's arms? Is there a snake tattoo on her arm? You know what? I would love to see how Tales from the TARDIS re-edits Kinda. My God. Kinda's so bad. You know, just re-edit Snake Dance. That was way better. It wasn't great, but it was way better at least. Kinda is still, and I'm gonna say it, and it's gonna piss people off, and I don't care, because it sucked. It sucked. We watched it once, it sucked. We watched it a second time, it still sucked. In fact, it was kind of worse, so. But who is Mrs. Flood? I guess we'll have to find out this Christmas! This Christmas we will find, or, I mean, maybe we won't even find out this Christmas. Who knows, you know? Maybe she is the Doctor's real mother. That'd be weird. I don't know. Maybe she's the Doctor. Maybe she's another incarnation of the Doctor. At that point, though, there gets to be a bit too many of them. You just canonize the Schalke Doctor. Good grief. Anywho, I've been blabbing on enough. Tune in at some point. Tune in at some point. We'll do a live stream about, wow, this couldn't have been a worse possible time to do this. I'll figure it out. Stay tuned to the community tab here on the channel and on my Twitter account. I will announce a live stream for this season at some point. But that is basically it. With all of that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist with all of my Doctor Who reactions, as well as another playlists of some variety, probably to our classic reactions if you want to go check those out. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.